Hey everybody, welcome to Drive Thru Review 336. Today we're going to talk about Bullfrogs. Now this is a brand new game from Thunderworks Games designed by Keith Matejka. So both first time published and first time design games. It's a light little filler game, plays 2 to 4 players and about a half hour or so. So it works great for like a lunchtime setting. So let's jump into how the game works. So in Bullfrogs, each player is trying to dominate the local lily pad. The starting board is made up of cards. There is a log card in the center with attached lily pads, and each of these lily pads has spaces where frogs will be placed. Each player will get some frogs and bullfrogs in their color, along with a deck of their color and a scoring aid. Here you can see the bullfrog on the left, and each player has 2 bullfrogs, and these are denoted by the axes that they wield, just like in nature. And there also are a bunch of these little mini regular frogs. And each player, like I said, has a player aid card that shows the sequence of play as well as the end game scoring. Each player will start by drawing 3 cards, and each turn you're going to play one of these cards, do some actions, and then draw a new card. So some things to note when I play a card. Let's say I chose to play this particular card. The number of little lily pad icons there is going to show me the number of actions I get on that turn. Now I've always got to play a lily pad orthogonally adjacent to one of the existing cards on the board. And when I do, in this case, I'll get 3 actions that I can do. Now there's 2 possible actions that you can take. I can look at any cards in the same row or any cards in the same column and deploy my frogs to either cards in the row or column. So for argument's sake, we'll go ahead and add a couple of more cards. And so let's say I can take 2 of my actions and deploy frogs to this card here. Now if I wanted, one of those frogs could have been a bullfrog, but you can never deploy more than 2 of your frogs to a single card. So for example, maybe I deployed 2 cards there, and then I could do 1 frog to this card here. You can never deploy frogs to the card you actually played. Now the other type of action you can do is sabotage, and what you do is actually jump your opponent's frogs from cards either in the row or column again. Now your opponent's bullfrogs can never be jumped. So let's redo a little bit of our turn. We'll take back this green frog here. Let's pretend we deployed these 2 frogs to this card. And then for our third and final action, we're actually going to sabotage or jump this blue frog off of a card, and we'll go ahead and just jump him right onto the card we played. So there's only 2 actions you get. You look at the number of lily pad icons on the card that you played, you get that number of actions, and you're either deploying frogs of your own or jumping other people's frogs off of lily pads. So why are you doing all this jumping? Well, if you take a look at this card here, it has a certain number of available spaces to it. Now once it fills up with frogs, we're actually going to score it, and we're going to look at the majority of frogs. And in this case, the green player has 1. They have 1 point for each of their regular frogs and 2 points of strength for their bullfrog. The blue player only has 3 points of strength, and the red player only has 1 point of strength. So the green player will capture this lily pad card and score it for points, but first they have to jump off all of the losing player's frogs first. So the priority order is they have to jump off all of the regular frogs of the losing players and then all of the bullfrogs of the losing players. And then if they have any of their frogs left, they'll jump theirs off. So we can see here we have 3 possible areas to jump frogs to. We've got this area here on the left. We'll go ahead and move the red frog over there. We've got this area here on the right. We'll go ahead and move the blue bullfrog over to this side. And finally we have 1 area up here which happens to be the log card, and to here we're going to move the blue frog. If you notice, there's no card underneath our card, so there's nowhere left for our frogs to escape to. If there had been a card here, then we could have jumped one of our frogs to this card. And again, in the priority order of doing the little frogs first, followed by any bullfrogs that may have been left. So in this case, we're going to remove our 2 regular frogs and put them back into our supply. However, we're going to remove our bullfrog from the game completely. He's been used up. Finally, we're going to take the card, and it's going to be worth 6 points in this case at the end of the game. Any cards that you capture that are in your player color, example for the green player here, will be worth +1. So this card will be worth 3 plus 1 point since we're green. Now it's very feasible to have sort of a chain reaction of scoring, because as you score, you're going to jump frogs off the lily pad. So that might fill up another lily pad, and maybe somebody else will win that, or maybe you set it up so that you can win that lily pad, and then once that kind of explodes and the frogs kind of spread, it's possible to have another one, another chain reaction. So that's something you got to be very keen about as you're playing cards and moving certain cards and deploying frogs in different areas. That's something you want to watch for. Now if there's a tie, like in this case here, the bullfrog is worth 2, the green player has 2 of their 1 point frogs, it's a tie. you're still going to jump everybody off, except the current player will make the decisions of where to jump people. And instead of somebody capturing this card for points, it's going to be discarded out of the game. As you can see, this last example has left us with a lily pad kind of off on its own. This lily pad is not connected to anything orthogonally, so the current player is going to have to take and slide that card to a location that would make it orthogonal. So let's say they chose to move it over here. We now have another card that is no longer orthogonally adjacent, so they would have to take it and move it to another legal spot. So in the same way as triggering multiple scorings, the movement and sliding of these lily pads can also give you some advantages in terms of controlling different areas of the board. So you'll keep playing like that until everybody's played all of their cards, and then you'll take a look at the center log card, and then you'll get 1 point for each of your regular frogs, 2 points for your bullfrogs, and then whoever has the most control over the log was actually going to get 3 bonus points. So that's pretty much how you play the game. Very simple, very quick, but actually very fun game. This has worked great at lunch, and I will just make some comments about player count now. 2 and 3 players, it's awesome. It's great. 4 players, it's a little chaotic because the board state can really change, you know, as those lily pads kind of slide around and multiple people get chances to fill up cards that you can't really plan to score, you know, and do any kind of change reactions. You're playing very tactically, trying to say, okay, here's the best move, is it going to give me the best points, and then away you go. With 2 and 3 players, there's a little bit more of a build-up in terms of when things score, and so I say it's very much enjoyable with that, but it's not so bad with 4. I mean, you play, it's a lighthearted game. This is one of those that is, I think, you know, maybe it's a little bit too light for like a Spiel des Jahres style of game, but it's really fun. I mean, it's a game that's a good family game. I think people will get a lot out of it. And there is, like I said, with 2 and 3 players, there's a little bit more strategy in that style of game. Hopefully, as you can see in the video, the production quality is great. The art is good on the cards. I love the little frogs. I love the bullfrogs with the little axes or whatever kind of weapons those are. That's pretty cool. The illustrations in the rule book, everything's very clear. So from a first published game, excellent, you know, great job. So like I said, it's simple, fun, you know, it's tactical, and you have you try to plan, you can hopefully to score multiple lily pads in a row, and you've got the whole thing of jumping people onto the frog, and you know, if somebody has the clear majority, you try to even jump other people on there so that they don't get all the points there at the end. So it's good. It's a very quick tactical game, again, like I said. So I would definitely recommend it, and I think it's going to be a good family game and, you know, good, nice little filler game. So take a look at it. Bullfrogs. Thanks.